Okay, so we have an artist actually coming on here that's a part of the Meraki platform, and super excited to bring them on. And guys, if you have any questions as we're going through here, again, feel free to bring them up and we'll get it going. But Eko, good morning, good morning.
Hello, good morning. How are you?
Good, how are you doing?
I'm great, thank you very much.
Okay, so we're going to be talking a little bit about Meraki. We're going to be talking a little bit about yourself and all this kind of, crazy thing that is NFTs and crypto. So give me a little bit of background about yourself. When did you start kind of getting into art, and when did you start realizing, hey, this NFT movement is something that I want to hop on board with?
Sure thing. So yeah, I started 1999 learning coding and yeah, messing around with quite old software now, but still in use, called Max MSP and Neto 0 plus 55. So that's when I got started. Fast forward 2020, I started to collect my first NFT just as a collector. And yeah, at some point I was like, why not? Should I just give it a try, really? And it sold out in 30 minutes. So at this point, I was like, wow, okay, this is a thing. People like what I do. And
Yo, that must have
yeah.
been a great realization.
No, it was. Yeah, well, I've done some. I had some cues in the past because I did an exhibition at a Museum of Art of Seoul. I did a few installations here and there, but yeah, but I don't know, lacking self-confidence, I guess, and the market corrected me and say, hey, we want more. So yeah, but 2020 was very interesting from an NFT collecting standpoint. It was not easy to collect, and yeah, plenty of stuff to do. I was wondering, okay, am I crazy buying JPEG from the internet? But yeah, I'm glad I did. And I also have been involved with crypto for quite a long time, so for me it was a logical progression, I believe. And but yeah, it's like when you start going down the rabbit hole, you can't stop. So yeah, it's a super fascinating space for sure.
Yeah, and yo, Max in the chat saying the multicolor line one is beautiful. And I'm curious, for anyone that's tuned in right now, between these first two that we're looking at, the one that's got kind of this diamond type hue, I guess I'll call it, and then the ones with all lines, you guys have a preference? Let me know down in the chat, because I think I'm more like preferential to this number 2 here out of them. But I mean, Eko, how does it work when you're creating one of these? Like, give me kind of like the process of how it works.
Sure. So I'm a collector deep down inside me, and I've been collecting a lot of stuff through my life. I had a phase where I was collecting a lot of furniture, and along the way, all the art books I could find on my path, I was just buying them. And I have this kind of significant collection of art books, especially from the 50s, 50s. That's what inspires me the most. So when I read, I take some notes of what I like. I take pictures. I put post-it notes, and then when I decide to start on a new project, I always start with some books and some stuff I kind of bookmarked a while ago. Then I have a phase where I start drawing on a notebook with pen and paper, and when I'm happy with the result, I start writing some code, but once again, just on paper. So I have like a high level overview of what I want to implement. And this usually represents, I would say, from 60 to 80% of the work. This is the research phase. And then the remaining 20% is actually start writing the code, debugging it, changing it, sometimes changing like going to a completely different direction. And so yeah, that's the process. I would say research, pen and paper, pseudocode, writing code, debugging, and yeah, going crazy with it.
Some of these are so different from one another, and as so, like, honestly, for myself, like the generative art is always something that I've admired, but I don't really, I don't feel like I fully like comprehend all of this in a way that I'd like. But between the differences, where I don't know if you happen to be seeing the streamer or whatnot, but on your Generative Art Studio site, you have one that's kind of grayed. It's got kind of pyramids looking, with the top left being very very dark. Where below that, it looks kind of like a supernatural, wavy, almost like hair, with different kind of like film-esque things. Where it's got kind of a completely different vibe. So how do you change the vibe so massively from one of your pieces to another?
Sure, it depends on the end result you want to achieve, and sometimes I'm going to push the envelope a little bit more toward the kind of the organic feeling. We have this kind of paper-like textures, which I generate with writing code, of course, because I just don't use any Photoshop in my production. And some other times you're going to say, "Oh, I want something a little bit more, I don't know, sleek, minimal." So yeah, that's the artistic intent, I would say, because at the end of the day, the code is just a mean to an end, and you shouldn't. Well, that's just my opinion, of course, but you shouldn't get like taken away from what you want to do because you're using certain tools. Because if you think about it, the generative art to me is very fascinating, because what you want to do is you want to build your own tools so you can do absolutely whatever you want. If you start to use off-the-shelf solutions, for example, well, you somehow you have some kind of limitations all the time, because you have certain tools available, certain settings available. You can't go absolutely crazy with it. You evolve within a box. And to me, generative art is you absolutely can go out of the box, because you design the box yourself. You set the boundaries you want to establish yourself. So yeah, different results is because you want to do different things. And also the fascinating bit of with generative art, of course, is you can store the code on the blockchain itself. So if you think about the evolution of art over the years and the technical evolution and innovation with the blockchain tech, well, it makes perfect sense, because we have a radically new technology stack available to the society at large. And there's nothing else which makes as much sense to do generative art, because as we maybe talk later on with the Meraki platform, well, you create the code and the code is stored on the blockchain itself. You can't do this with any other kind of art.
Well, we actually have somebody that's tuned in listening right now, named Max Design, and he's an artist himself, and he's got some questions. If you don't mind me asking, quick here, but he's saying, or sorry, asking, what programs do you use, and are there any website or resources that you recommend for people that want to learn coded art?
Of course, the main library I use is called P5GS. It's a JavaScript library. It's open source. Everyone can use it, absolutely free. That's usually a good starting point, and you can go as easy or as hard on yourself as you want. You can start building simple stuff, or if you're very already advanced, you can start doing very advanced math, very advanced algorithms, etc. Second part of the question, which is about the resources, there's a guy who is absolutely amazing online. He has a YouTube channel, and it's called The Coding Train. I mean, this guy could teach pretty much anything in life. He is a fascinating teacher. He has a deep knowledge about P5GS and processing, which is like the same as P5GS pretty much. That would be definitely my go-to resource to get started.
Love it, love it. And we were speaking about Meraki earlier, and this is a platform that's launching that's doing generative art. So, how did you hear about it at first, and how come you decided to become an artist that is on this platform?
Sure. I have this. I don't know. Yeah, I'm a bit unique in the way I work, because I'm
You're
a
an artist. You're
blockchain
supposed to be unique. You're supposed to be unique
Yeah,
as an
well,
artist.
maybe, but this is sometimes a bit controversial, because some of my peers would say just don't really enjoy it so much. But what I do is I'm not a maxi with a specific coin. I like blockchain tech as a large spectrum of tech available, so I don't mind minting on different platforms or different blockchains. I can mint on Tezos, I can mint on Ethereum, Solana, Matic. Of course, that's just a no-brainer. So I always keep an eye out on very cutting edge platforms, which allows artists to express themselves. And there was a huge demand for, I believe, pretty much like no gas, very high quality platform for artists. And Meraki was just an absolute no-brainer, because when I read the white paper, because I get a lot of incoming messages or demands of new platforms launching new stuff and say, hey, we'd like to showcase your art on our website. And most of the time, I just say no, because otherwise, just too much. But with Meraki, the white paper, I strongly encourage everyone to read the white paper, which is absolutely super easy to read and to comprehend, and they just check all the right boxes, really.
No, I love it. And I mean, for you and what you're wanting to like accomplish in a way, I guess it's a weird question when you ask an artist like what are they wanting to, accomplish in the space, but do you have kind of like any goals? I mean, obviously if you're getting accepted on a platform like Meraki here, you're you're of like a certain standard per se, but like, personally, where do you kind of hope that you are? Do you want to, have it where you're at multiple future, NFT art museums? You're wanting to have a very big name. You're wanting to be known for a certain type of style. What's kind of like in your mind where you're like, hey, I'm happy with where I'm at?
Sure. What I achieved a goal like last year for me, which was very important, which was to be exhibited at Art Basel Miami, which is, in my opinion, one of the, I mean, that's the top contemporary art event of the year worldwide. So that was last year in December, and I was super happy about it. Then regarding the future, well, I think we are extremely lucky to be just first alive. That's quite very simple, but we should not forget about this. So I'm super happy to be here, and my goal is really just to enjoy myself. That's all I care about, because I don't mind everything else. I just do my art to express emotions. Um, and also, if you think about the history of generative art and all the OG artists from the 60s, like that's very OG for sure. I mean, these guys, they were having a very hard time to make a living from what they were doing, because all the art world was absolutely closed for them. And just these guys were left pretty much unknown until today, pretty much. So you still have a couple of them. One of them is Vera Molnar. She turned like 98 3 weeks ago. She has like worldwide recognition right now. But as an NFT artist doing generative art, I mean, what we are going through today is just insane in terms of reconnaissance. Of course, the money you get from selling your art is not negligible, and it helps you to keep going and to be able to invest more time and resources in what you build. So I think where we are right now is just unbelievable, and I'm enjoying this very much. Regarding the next steps, I don't know. We'll see where it goes, but as long as I can create, do whatever I want, and share it with people, and having great feedback. Because since I started minting, my Twitter account is like, I don't know, 17,000 followers in like, I don't know, 4 months. So the feedback I got was just unbelievable. It was insane, really. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, but just being here, enjoying what I do, having great feedback from collectors and people just enjoying it, I'm very fulfilled already.
Love it, love it. And I mean, for you with creating all these different pieces and, takes time, it's a very unique style. How is it when you see a lot of these other NFT projects that come out that, are more like identity based? Do you look at them and say like, hell yeah, like I'd like to own, like a gutter cat, a cool cat, or any of those kind of ones? Or are you just like, no, I want, this kind of art style and that's it?
No, absolutely not. The PFP side of things, I think it's super interesting. FOMO is hard as well, of course, and regrets, of course, that I haven't bought more of the collection I own, or some collection I missed, of course, because you just can't do everything. For me, I would say it's more interesting on the kind of sociological side of things, more than an artistic one, maybe. but that's debatable, of course. No, I'm absolutely open, and it makes perfect sense to think that we have online identities, and having a PFP verified as an NFT with your wallet in some like social networks. Of course, it makes perfect sense, and I interact with a lot of people who just have like, I don't know, well, not all of them, but some of them, like they have like a CryptoPunk and a Fidenza in the background in the banner. You're like, wow,
Yeah, you're like, okay, you got
that's
money. I hear you.
money or intuition, because that's either you have money or you have great brain or and a good timing. So either way, it's fine with me. But also just people who have like, I don't know, obscure, unknown PFP project. I mean, I don't care as long as you enjoy it, as long as you can identify to it, as long as you're proud to use it as your profile picture. I mean, why not? That yeah, I'm super happy about it. To me, it's part of the entire ecosystem for sure.
Love it. Why not? That's a Pokemon, but also the new saying that we're going to go with. Max is coming through with another question here. Are there any artists in or out of the generative scene that you've taken inspiration from by takes or just general inspiration from?
Yeah, of course. I mean, as we have a very famous saying, like we all stand on the shoulders of giants, and I'm absolutely no you do it consciously or not. I mean, we are not like an isolated brain in a vacuum. So yeah, I love like that. What I do pretty much every week or sometimes twice a week on Twitter, I do like a very advanced thread, second summary on a very famous artist. So I do this every week as a treat. Blessed to be able to spend time studying this old artist. One artist who I enjoy not the most, but a lot, is Kandinsky, which is Vasily Kandinsky is like one of the first painter who did abstract work, because what I do is mostly generative abstract work. So all the precursor artists like Hilma af Klint, for example, I mean, all these very famous artists, to me, I read books of them all the time. Another more contemporary one, Vera Molnar. She was a Hungarian artist, like the second generation of generative artists, because she was not a researcher in a lab. Because initially it was mostly mathematician at Bell Lab, for example, in the US. We're using like a plotter or kind of hacking some existing lab tool to make generative art. So Vera was the first generation. She was like a pure artist, if I can say this. So she had a strong influence of me. And on the contemporary side, I don't know, I spend hours every day just looking at what's going on, and there's so much production that I don't have like a specific name coming to mind, but of course the Tyler Hobbs, for example, is great influence. So influence is everywhere. You can look at, I don't know, a plant in the nature, a tree outside, grass. So you can have like inspiration from the outside, but also books, and also what you go through in life, and your own emotion and the own stuff you have to deal with along the way. So everything is very inspirational. Hello, can you hear me?
Sorry, my bad. Hello, my I was muted.
No,
So
no worries.
when when we're looking at avatar collections and PFPs, and then for generative ones, you can say that there is a cluster of people that purchase both sets of NFTs, right? Well, also we have some people that potentially only do generative, and others that only buy into avatar type NFT projects. What do you think would be a catalyst or a big thing to get people that haven't really bought into generative art before to buy into it? Is there anything in particular that you think, or is it just maybe certain people haven't connected with certain generative art, so they haven't really looked at it?
Yeah, it's a good question. I wish I had the perfect answer, but I have some, I don't know, some ideas at least. a generative art can be, well, most of the time it can be kind of minimal and kind of hard to get because it's not maybe easy to get into the artwork itself. But if you look like, let's say, do a step back and say, okay, you should consider generative art as also the process behind it, the code running it. So you can look at the outcome, but actually generative art is not about the outcome. It's about the process itself and the algorithms you build. And also, if you think about it, when you do real-time minting, which is the case on Meraki, and this is why I love this platform so much, because this is so rare, is I'm providing the code, and then I define a set of parameters. And then when you mint your artwork, I'm most likely, I will never see in advance what you're going to mint, because the moment you're going to mint it is going to be generated and a specific kind of hash value, for example. If I try to simplify a bit, the act of minting the work yourself, there's a part of yourself in the artwork you create as a collector, because it's your action of minting it which is going to trigger the smart contract on the platform, etc. And you're going to get a result based on your specific action. So trying to summarize a bit, yes, generative art can be hard to get into because it's not very common. But if you like blockchain, you should absolutely maybe spend a little time to understand why it makes so much sense to make generative art, to storing it on the blockchain, to have the artwork minted with a smart contract, which is, by the way, for example, on the Meraki platform, you have, as an artist, your own private subcontract. So there was kind of a problem a few weeks ago on a very famous platform on Ethereum. And lots of artists said, well, guys, everyone who bought my NFT, now they are null and void. I'm going to remint it because they said it's not actually mine, because the smart contract was under the name of the platform and not the name of the artist. So when you say NFT is solving the provenance issue, well, if you look at it a little bit in detail, but sometimes it does not, because the artist name is nowhere. It's not in the smart contract at all. So on Meraki, this is absolutely great because you mint on the platform, but as an artist, you have the smart contract under your name. And when you get the NFT, the traceability is absolutely flawless. So yeah, I would say it should be obvious and easy if the artist would be the perfect artist in the world, to let the collectors enjoy generative art as just you look at it, you love it. It might not be the case, but sometimes the art is like an acquired test.
Well, I mean, I think one of the things, especially with like Ethereum NFTs, is for generative art, because it's not, have this massive tokenomics yielding, oh, we're doing a game and this is going to be like the future, right? It's, here's like a fine piece of art that you're able to get, and it's like a one of one. And with Ethereum, obviously we've seen success with some of the other, big platforms like art blocks and whatnot. But with Meraki coming out and doing this on Polygon, I think that, it might change the tune, because you're not going to have those crazy gas fees.
Of course, and there's a couple of things, because yes, the gas fees are inexistent, and I love art blocks. I've collected a lot on the platform. Yes, sometimes it can break your heart to see, well, I've spent as much on gas because it was a very expected drop that I was giving away to the artist, which at some point doesn't make much sense. But also, let's say you want to apply to art blocks today. I think they're going to reopen the application in March. So it's quite far, and the creation is it's great, but the creation takes a long time because they have so many applicants going there. So as a generative artist, you don't have actually many platforms where if you want to mint, you have higher chances of being able to mint over there. There's one on Tezos, there's one on Meraki, and that's pretty much it. I'm sure I must forget some of them, which I don't know. But there's not actually many platforms available to generative artists today if they want to mint either, well, curated. So I'm doing the curated drop on Meraki, but further down the line, they're going to be also an open platform. If you want to mint without any kind of curation involved, meaning everyone can go there and mint. That's kind of unique. It's not unique per se, but it's very limited.
It's kind of cool though. Like I can't wait to see what it's like because I think the generative art, a lot of the stuff is really cool. And looking at your pieces, like I'm like hell friggin' yeah. But again, the ETH gas fees again do kind of affect it a little bit. But Eko, as we're wrapping up here, we got your Twitter here. What's the best way to kind of follow you on your journey here? And obviously we're gonna be keeping an eye on Meraki for when you launch. But if anybody's wanting to follow you and your story, is it just checking out Twitter or do you got any other socials?
No, for now, I'm really focused on Twitter, and I try to keep my posts interesting. Sounds lame to say, but if you follow me, I will pretty much never mention that I'm selling something. I will post some good morning pictures.
We love good morning photos. Hell yeah, we love good mornings.
Yeah. So and people seem to like it too. So I'm like, okay, you resonate with this. You'll get more of it. But yeah, I won't be like pushing myself to buy work. I'm doing this to first of all get in touch with other artists I find and I love. So it's a way for me also to share the word about great art and some kind of NFT alpha, if I could say such a thing. So not investing advice for sure, but I share very much what I purchase because I also purchase quite a lot. And also I do my weekly threads about computer art history, generative art history. So if you want to learn stuff, well, that's just a no-brainer. And yeah, and sometimes I would say maybe once every other month, I'll say something like, yeah, this is live on Meraki, for example, because I will announce when it's going to be live on Meraki. But yeah, I'm very much about sharing what I find interesting, sharing other art and artists I enjoy, doing the thread about generative computer art pretty much every week. And yeah, so Twitter, I try to produce high quality content, and I'm posting a little bit on Instagram, very, very little. And that's it for now. So yeah, more than happy to welcome you on my Twitter at Eko3316. My DMs are open, of course, and always happy to chat and to help if I can.
So, final thing, is it Eko or EKO? Because you just said EKO, and I've been calling you Eko this entire time.
No, it's Eko. Sorry, and I don't.
No, you're good. You're good. You're just spelling it out. Hey, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. No, I don't even. I chose this like random stuff. I had no idea I would like end up at Art Basel like 3 months later. So I was like, okay, now it's too late. I can't change that. So well.
The way that it works with NFTs, hey, it's great. Yo, listen, I appreciate you coming on and telling us all about kind of your history and what's coming up with Meraki, and excited to see how that plays out. But enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll chat soon.
Thank you. It was great to be here today. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.